What if the crew of one tank carried a secret mission that could change the fate of an entire battle?
April 1945. Deep inside war-torn Germany, one American Sherman tank rolled through smoke like a ghost. Soldiers swore this metal beast shouldn't even be running. Its armor shredded, its crew exhausted, and death waiting on every road. But something inside that tank, something no one could explain, kept it moving. Stay with me, because what the crew found next would change the mission and their fate. As the Sherman crawled forward, the crew realized they were heading down a road every other American unit refused to enter. Reports said German anti-tank teams vanished into the tree line here, and entire convoys were found burned to metal skeletons. Yet the Fury crew pushed on, feeling eyes watching them from the forest shadows. And what they discovered on that road was the first sign their mission was already compromised. The deeper they drove, the quieter the world became. No birds, no wind, not even the distant rumble of artillery. It was a silence that felt wrong, like the forest itself was holding its breath. Inside the tank, the crew exchanged uneasy glances. Something was out there, watching, waiting, and the moment they realized what was hidden above their heads, it was already too late. Just as the crew prepared to push forward, a single shadow shifted high in the tree line. Too fast, too deliberate to be an animal. The gunner froze. The commander whispered for everyone to stay quiet. Then, out of nowhere, a glint of metal flashed between the branches. Someone up there already had them in their sights. And when the tank crew finally saw what that glint belonged to, their blood ran cold. Without warning, bullets ripped through the fog, striking the tank with brutal precision. Sparks flew, and the metal groaned like it was alive. The crew ducked instinctively, hearts pounding. Every second felt like an eternity as they realized this wasn't random fire. It was calculated, deadly, and close. And in that terrifying moment, they knew whoever was up there was hunting them. The Fury's engine roared as the crew retaliated. Shells tore through the fog, striking unseen targets hidden in the tree line. Every shot brought a momentary relief, but the forest seemed endless, and the enemy's patience was unnerving. For a brief, heart-stopping instant, they realized they weren't just fighting for territory. They were fighting to survive a trap no one could predict it. As the smoke cleared, the crew finally saw the devastation around them: bodies, destroyed vehicles, and signs of fight that had begun long before they arrived. But something made their stomachs twist. Some of the figures weren't moving the way soldiers should. Shadows in the mist, frozen mid-action, whispering a story of terror they couldn't yet understand. And the worst part? The danger wasn't over. It was only getting closer. Without warning, a second wave of fire erupted, this time dangerously close. Bullets slammed against the Sherman's hull, and shells exploded mere meters away. The crew's nerves stretched to the breaking point. Every shadow in the fog felt alive, every sound potential death sentence. And as the commander scanned the battlefield, he realized the enemy wasn't just hiding, they were surrounding them. The Fury ground to a halt. Mud, wreckage, and unseen obstacles had trapped the tank in place. Every direction seemed blocked, and the crew felt the weight of inevitability pressing down on them. Outside, shadows shifted, and the enemy's presence grew more menacing. The realization hit hard. They were sitting ducks in the middle of a battlefield designed to kill them, and escape wasn't guaranteed. Through the haze, figures began to emerge, German soldiers moving with deadly precision, almost as if the forest itself guided them. The crew's eyes widened as they realized these weren't ordinary infantry. They were elite, trained to strike without warning. Every step they took seemed to whisper death, and the tank crew knew that one wrong move would end their mission and their lives, instantly. Suddenly, a bullet pierced the tank's side, striking one of the crew. Chaos erupted inside. The roar of the engine, shouted commands, and the sickening realization that war had finally hit home. Time slowed as the crew scrambled to help their comrade. Every second a razor's edge between life and death, and in that harrowing instant, they understood the true cost of the mission and how close they were to losing everything. The crew quickly realized the gravity of their situation. They were completely surrounded. Enemy soldiers close in from every direction, moving with eerie coordination. Every escape route vanished into the fog and wreckage, and the tension inside the tank reached a breaking point. With adrenaline surging, the crew prepared for the impossible, a fight against odds stacked impossibly against them. With enemy forces closing in, the tank commander made a desperate decision. Every second counted, and hesitation could mean death. The crew braced themselves as the Sherman lurched forward. Aiming to break the encirclement, sparks flew from every side. Shells tore into ground, and the forest seemed alive with danger. In that instant, survival wasn't guaranteed. It was a gamble with death itself. A sudden explosion rocked the forest. Trees snapped, dirt flew, and the ground trembled beneath the fury. The tank lurched violently, throwing the crew off balance. For a heartbeat, silence returned, but the air smelled of fire and metal. In that split second, the crew realized the explosion wasn't random. It was a calculated trap designed to crush them, and the question lingered: who would survive the next strike? Amid the chaos, the Fury crew noticed something unexpected: an abandoned German tank, barely functional, hidden in the trees. Could they use it to turn the tide? Every second was critical, and taking the risk could mean survival or instant death. With no other choice, the crew made a daring move that would decide the battle's outcome, and test their courage like never before. Taking a deep breath, the crew executed a dangerous maneuver, inching the Sherman closer to the abandoned tank. Every movement was measured, every sound amplified in the foggy silence. One wrong turn could trigger hidden mines or enemy fire. Yet, with survival on the line, they pressed forward, hearts pounding, knowing that the next moments would decide who would walk out alive and who wouldn't. Just as the crew prepared to use the abandoned tank, enemy fire erupted from the forest. Bullets and shells tore through the fog. Sparks flew, and metal screamed under the impact. The Sherman rocked violently, throwing the crew off balance once more. In that terrifying moment, they realized the enemy had anticipated their move. Survival depended on split-second decisions and sheer luck. In the midst of chaos, the Fury crew spotted an opening, a narrow gap between the trees that could allow them to break through the enemy lines. With no time to hesitate, the commander gave the order. Engines roared, treads tore through mud, and the Sherman surged forward. Every second counted, and one mistake could mean annihilation. But in that split second, hope flickered amidst the horror. The crew knew this was their last chance. The enemy had regrouped, and every second was life or death. The Sherman tore through the foggy forest, shells exploding nearby, trees splintering and the ground shaking beneath them. Inside, the crew held their breath, praying their skill and luck would be enough. What awaited them at the end of this push would determine who survived and who was lost to the war forever. The fog finally began to lift, revealing the aftermath of a battle that had tested every ounce of courage. The Sherman crew looked around, destroyed vehicles, fallen soldiers, and a silence that felt almost unreal. They had survived what seemed impossible, but the cost was written on every face. In that quiet, they realized the war wasn't over, but they had earned this fleeting moment of survival, and the memory of what they faced would haunt them forever. Every battle leaves stories untold, heroes unsung, and secrets buried in the fog of war. If you want to uncover more true accounts of courage, survival, and the horrors of battle, hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell. Only here will you witness the untold stories of America's soldiers. Stay with us, because the next story could shock you.